but Order had a pretty reasonable season if you go through their maps.
I definitely think that's something that has been undersold a little bit for Order. You know, we looked at that match between Order and Heist and put a lot of stock into that one, particularly for Order. I mean, not necessarily quite as much actually for Heist, I think, being able to get that win. But for Order to lose that match, it was a big deal, and we sort of used that as a storyline throughout the season. But when you look at the rest of their matches, they haven't actually lost any other
They've lost 2 counted maps, and of course that overtime one that swung the match in Heist's favour. But for now, we'll see Mindfreak coming out on attack. Hopefully for them, this is going to work out a little bit better. Going to push through now is Lasky as the pause does come out. So yeah, we spoke about the 20-0 for the Drop Bears, but an 18-2 is actually a very impressive season coming out from Order. Yeah, definitely. I mean, at this point, they're up to 20-2, having not lost a map here in playoffs either. So, yeah, I definitely think that Order has kind of flown under the radar a little bit this season, but there is the case. I think that loss kind of threw a bit of a spanner into the works in terms of a perception of how they had played. Well, I mean, looking at the expectations going into the season for Order, we always expected that Order should be the first seed coming out of their group, and in the end they were, but it was the circumstances in which they were able to come out that was a little bit surprising. We didn't think that they would actually lose a match, which they did. So that was where some of the questions sort of arose from, but I think Order have really put them to bed pretty quickly, being able to get that 4-0 over Melbourne Mavericks in particular, and now looking really solid against Mindfreak today as well. Mindfreak using up 40 seconds here. They obviously had that bit of a pause, and the knockdown going to come out there, but it's actually Kamskis who goes down first to Merit. So with Goobs going down as well, this is a pretty tough situation for Mindfreak. They're going to have to reset as quickly as possible. But if you take a look now, the ulties, Jordan, Order in prime position. Yeah, most definitely. Not looking like we're going to be seeing any change-ups here onto Hanamura. It's really the standard fare from what we've seen out from this matchup thus far. Obviously, disconnect for Mindfreak not helping out too much, but end of the day, Order looking super, super solid still. Grab's going to come up for Jordation here, and I expect he's going to use it pretty early on in this fight as well. Yep. Because that's the thing, right? You can use this grab and use it to stop this fight in its tracks and not use anything else. They're going to be throwing as much as they can into that one after the grab does go out. Yuki going to pop their ulti as well. Shatter going to come through. So a little bit now being used by Order along with Merit's Trance. They will win the fight. Fractured did use the sound barrier, but now for Mindfreak, this is their opportunity. Oh, well, that was a really, really nice Shatter out from Quats, and he's reaped the rewards of it as well, getting quite a few kills there for himself. It's essentially shut down the 2 ultimates that Mindfreak threw in there, being the rally and the sound barrier. So for Order, a pretty nice economic fight, but like you said, Mindfreak has still got enough available for them here. It's going to rely on perhaps a big eat out from Adam. Hunter getting this sound barrier up and out at a perfect time. Yeah. Because Mindfreak definitely are able to make something happen. You can see Order know that as well. They backed away. They're going to allow Hunter a lot more time here to actually build the sound barrier up before the fight starts. Really smart work from Order here. Trying to make it last as long as possible. The sound barrier coming up just in the nick of time to try and counter that one. Jordation actually finds Pliss. Quats and Hunter, though, go down. You can see a lot of ultimates still available here for Mindfreak. Self-destruct coming through from Adam. It's not going to have the desired impact in this fight. It's going to go across the way of Mindfreak. They should be able to capture Objective A. Yeah, it was just too much there for Order to deal with. Obviously, the grab kind of counted out by the sound barrier, but then Lansky also has the Earth Shatter, and he lands a really nice one as well. So Mindfreak have a bit of difficulty, but unable to push on through. Look at contest here from Order, though. Yeah, the contest will come out just in the nick of time. Self-destruct coming through. Not going to work out. Hunter jumping around on the point. Quads, Adam, Jordation, all there as well. Rally going to be used by Yuki. The rest of the team going to get armored up right now. Sound barrier coming out from Fraction, and the Earth Shatter from Lasky. Looked like it would secure the deal, but Quats throws out one of his own. Lasky goes down. Goobs goes down. Fractured goes down this fight. This point that looked like it was going to go to Mindfreak stopped just in the nick of time by Order. Such great focus fire there from Order. When Quats gets that Earth Shatter, it's Goobs that goes down so quickly. He's at 98% of that Transcendence. If he survives, maybe the fight goes the way of Mindfreak. But perfect stuff from Order. Perfect ult tracking and perfect focus fire might just result in them full holding here on point A. Yeah, it looked like it should not have been the case. Now with 10 seconds on the clock, the ultimates in Order's advantage. It's going to be very difficult for Mindfreak to even make their way onto the point. The Graviton Surge going to capture everyone other than Fractured, who's probably going to go down right there at the end. You can see a couple of players making their way across. Fractured down. Goob's the last remaining. He's not on the point. He'll get found out as well. And, well, not... I guess it is a full hold, but we saw two ticks, I think, 2 and a bit.
It was 83.2% if I am not mistaken, so at least something for Mindfreak to defend, but realistically speaking, you look at that and you think, we haven't done enough.
Yeah.
Not against Order, who were able to somehow manage to recontest that point as well. You don't often see a recontest onto point A on Hanamura, but Order, they know what they can do. They know their advantages. They know that they're the stronger side here, so they're really pushing the issue against Mindfreak. And you might not necessarily see Order do something like that against a team like Sydney Drop Bears or someone on their caliber, because they'll get punished for it. But Mindfreak didn't punish Order for that recontest. They did have a good shatter down from Lasky, but unfortunately they weren't able to follow up on it, and they lost their chance to cap out point A, and thus they also lost their chance to attack point B.
And it was quite risky as well. If Order had failed in the contest there, they would have lost 3 or 4 heroes very quickly, and then you could have seen an opportunity for Mindfreak to push through and capture objective B in quick succession.
Yeah, but I want to make it work, and I'm going to see a bit of funny business from Order when it comes to the hero selections here, but those won't be lasting too much longer, I don't think. Mindfreak do have the double main tank on the defense here, with Pliz taking away the Winston as well, so that's going to give them just a little bit of extra bulk, a little bit more difficult for Order to sort of push through the double barrier. It does mean that you are lacking the Divas, so Jordation's life will be a little bit easier when it comes to throwing those grabs out. That's something that Mindfreak definitely needs to be aware of, but definitely not a terrible choice here for Mindfreak. It can work against Order. I'm not so sure that it will, but you can see the sense in what they're trying to do here with that double barrier.
Yeah, and in combination with Cool Whip as well, there's a lot here that Mindfreak has in the ways of barriers and shields. We'll see whether it works out for them or not. Order going to have a good idea of what they're heading up against now. Whether that changes how they play or what they play, we'll have to wait and see. But for them, they'll be looking to try and potentially find this first fight either way. Taking a little bit of time. Quats, Adam, all taking a bit of damage as well. Just biding their time for now. Waiting. What are we waiting for? There we go. It's waiting for that barrier perhaps to come back out ready from the Zarya. Going to use it onto Quats. He will go down Yuki as well. So nice little defense coming in for Mindfreak. Going to win this first fight. And
the nice thing about this composition as well for Mindfreak is that it really puts Quats under a lot more pressure on the Reinhardt. And Quats has been a standout for Order throughout this season. So being able to keep him busy is really, really nice. Winston, obviously, with the Tesla Cannon, can shoot through the barrier, which Diva cannot. So it's a little bit of extra damage that's going on to the Reinhardt. Couple that with the Discord Orb out from Goobs as well, and Quats is definitely not having a fun time today. But Order, it wasn't the end of the world. They've lost 1 fight. Still plenty of time to work with here. Have fed a bit of ultimate charge over to Mindfreak, though.
Waiting for it, looking for it. Throws it through, but the bubble does come up onto Quats, but it's not going to be enough. They've thrown out just the 1 ulti, and that was perfect execution.
They actually threw out 2 because the grab comes in there as well from Cool Whip.
Was it needed? You tell me.
I think it probably was. Maybe not in the moment because they wouldn't have known that the shadow would have been blocked by the bubble. Given the fact that it was, in that case, then yes, it was actually needed. So I think that's a good usage by Cool Whip. You still see a lot of ultimates available here for Mindfreak. A pretty good economic fight out for them. But Order similarly didn't use anything. So they have plenty in their back pocket now. And I think this is where the explosive fight's going to come from Order. Either this fight or the next fight. And if Mindfreak aren't able to win one of those 2, or both of those 2, then they're probably done here.
Well, that's it. It's a little bit tougher here for Mindfreak because they can't afford to lose any of these fights. See the self-destruct coming through, not going to have the impact as required. Trance coming up from Merit. Kamskis, Lasky's both go down. Mindfreak not in a great position right now. Order going to make their way onto the point. Mindfreak at least had themselves in this same position before. Order were able to counter it. Mindfreak, though, it's going to be a little bit tougher than them. Plist down. Goobs down. Cool Whip down, and that should be it.
Yeah, that should be Mindfreak down as well. Ben and Order up, as they're going to be able to get the 3-0 today over Mindfreak.
Oh,
Contest from Camskis. Quads actually jumps off the edge. That's a little bit risky. Game wasn't over, mate, but in the end, 3-0 there for Order. So who is really concerned? That is the expected result out from Order. A very, very good showing from them today in that last fight as well. Just being able to hold on to those support ultimates a lot longer, and that is going to show another victory there for Order. So very, very good season from Order thus far. I'm excited to see how far they can go.
Big congratulations to Order. They're going to make their way through to the semi-finals, locking themselves in a slot up against the winner of our next quarterfinal. But for Mindfreak, I still want to say congrats to them. They've had a great first season, made it through to playoffs. A lot of teams would not be able to achieve that in their very first time in Contenders. Now for them, they're going to drop down and play off to lock themselves in a slot for Season 1 2019. It's not their final chance to make it through, but it's the much easier of the two. Yeah,
definitely a very, very impressive season out from Mindfreak. You really have to give them props for what they've been able to achieve. When they were announced as the 12th team into Contenders, or when they qualified through, you know, we were looking at all 12 teams in the season, and to be honest, I think most people probably rated Mindfreak as the weakest team coming into the season, but they're now within the top 8. They've achieved that much. That's very, very impressive, and I really hope to see some of, if not all of these players, or perhaps just this entire roster back again in the next season, because I think they've really been able to grow as a roster, and they've been able to do a lot of work where we might not have expected that from them. But as we said, we expected their run to end here against Order.
Absolutely.
Have to start talking about Order now.
Yeah.
All of these legendary players now within the Australian region being able to get through to, once again, another season finals. We've had a couple of previous winners now in this roster. We've had finalists in this roster. We've had all these players able to get through to at least the semi-finals in the last season of Contenders. So they're a very, very strong roster. Definitely a team to contend with, and I definitely think we're going to be seeing Order through to the grand finals of this season. Yeah,
certainly looking strong contenders right now, and I think we both agree probably one of the best shots we've seen for taking back the crown from the drop pairs who've gone back to back to back.
Wishful thinking, perhaps, but you kind of got to give a little bit of hope into the minds of the Australian region, because it has been a bit of a dynasty that's been built by the Sydney drop bears, and maybe it is going to be Order, the one that is going to sow a bit of chaos in the ranks of AU Contenders, and they're well on their way to doing that with the 3-0 today over Mindfreak. But yeah, I mean that's pretty much really exactly what we thought was going to happen. There was no problems at all for Order. I mean, looking at all of those matches, I'm trying to think of, you know, maybe a little bit of a misplay or anything that I saw. And to be fair, maybe Mindfreak didn't capitalize on things that they should have. But that being said, I think there was very few opportunities really for Mindfreak. And that's the beauty of this Order roster. They're playing a super solid style of Overwatch at the moment. They're able to keep things with minimal mistakes, and obviously that is really what it's all about when it comes to such high-level competition, not only in Overwatch, but in pretty much every game, is if you can minimize your mistakes, if you can minimize your risks, and play out comfortably and safely, then that inevitably is going to be why you end up picking up the majority of your wins, and that's, I think, exactly been represented by Order today in that match against Mindfreak, not making too many mistakes at all.
Jordan, it's time to have a look at another Macca's play of the game. A McDonald's Australia play of the game. This was Order up against Mindfreak. Let's take a look at this.
Yeah, very, very good Earthshatter down from Quats when things were looking a little bit dangerous for them, having lost Unter in a position where he had the sound barrier as well. If you remember, that was the nice grab out from Cool Whip.
Yeah.
But straight away we see that Earthshatter go down, and it was just Quats. Yuki not able to get involved there with a shield bash at all. So really nice stuff out from Quats. And again, we're going to see another Earthshatter Macca's player of the game out from Quats, as we did last time as well in their match against Melbourne Mavericks. If you remember, Quats was able to pick up the Macca's player of the game as well. So 2 weeks in a row, nice stuff from him. That's an extra big Mac.
Well, when you combine them together, yeah. Or a double cheeseburger.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, again, you look at this season, this meta, and you think the tank players are so important, so impactful, and that's why I think we're starting to see a lot more of the tank players get those Macca's player of the games. I mean, last season we looked at players like Yuki, players like Jordation, able to get so many
It's all about the Rocket Barrage,
all about
or
the DPS.
Or the Genji, or the whatever, and it was always very impressive. But it's good to see a bit of a change in the tanks coming through. So it's been pretty strong for them. But that is our next playoff done. Coming up after the break, we have one more quarterfinal remaining. Don't go anywhere.